I played Project Landsword about 2 months ago, and ever since then, I've kind of kept a really close eye on it, praying that I'll go into the itch.io website and just seeing a new build. And for like 99% of viewers, yes, I mean you, you'll probably have a very kind of loose idea on what the game kind of is. Basically, to give you the rundown, Project Landsword is a top-down mecha shooter with heavy emphasis on destruction. And it says here that the gameplay combines elements of classic shoot-'em-ups with contemporary action stealth games, which, I mean, I don't really see the element of stealth because you're basically destroying a city 90% of the time. But what I want to mainly focus on is just the lore of it, because I think it's a pretty interesting idea. I do know it's a game in a demo and it's kind of just working its way through, and everything's probably going to change, and this video is probably going to be very, very out of touch down the line if this game like continues with a different story or retcons certain things. But to start off, looking at what the developer describes Project Landsword to be, it says here, quote, set in an alternate timeline where the colonization of Mars began in the early 1960s. The towering protagonist Val pilots one of the heavily armored crawler battle mechs, which lay waste to abandoned cityscapes polluted by hostile forces and mutated worm-like creatures. Which ultimately tells us the protagonist, being Val, pilot of the Martian Defense Forces 3rd Maneuver Squadron, and what she's piloting, being a maneuver crawler. What a maneuver crawler is basically just a bipedal spider thing with wheels. It says here that the ground combat in the 21st century changed dramatically after the invention of the new type of vehicle known as the crawler. Despite the name, these four-legged titans are anything but slow, delivering unparalleled firepower to the battlefield, with the armor of a tank, the lethality of an attack helicopter, and the agility of a dune buggy. These fearsome machines utterly dominate, swiftly annihilating any opposition in their way. Which to me, it kind of gives off like 86 vibes, if that makes sense. Because I mean, it has a similar-ish premise, because it's like guy inside a mech, or gal inside mech, piloting a big death robot. But anyway, from what I can gather from it, it kind of shows me that the Martian Defense Force is some sort of like Earth peacekeeping force to keep Mars safe from whatever the hell they kind of need to be protected from. They did mention mutant worms, so maybe they're protecting them from being worm food, I guess. Assuming the second mission has you fighting these things, but seeing how aggressive they are, I think that's probably the main force that they're trying to deal with. However, when you go to the very top of the website of the itch.io page of Project Landsword, it does say the once peaceful surface of Mars has decayed into a violent battleground between arms corporations and earthly governments, which it's very interesting to me because arms corporations make arms. No, not like arms, but like they make firearms, mechs, and stuff like that. And seeing that they're in some sort of like active rebellion against the earthly governments, either they're trying to make new technologies and the Earth government are saying no, or you know, they're just doing shady things that the Earth government doesn't like, seeing as how they can't really control 2 planets at once by the sounds of it. But going on quickly to the first mission, it says here, quote, a division of Martian guards stationed near the city of San Cyprus has rebelled following reports of a coup in its sister city. TV reports show several dozen maneuver crawlers rolling around the streets. Pilot, you know what to do. And I'll go over my speculation kind of later on, but the fact that a Martian guard stationed in the city has rebelled kind of shows you like what the state of Mars currently is for an unknown reason. It could be, you know, the arms people, it could be the the weird mutant slug things. But moving on to the second mission, the description reads, quote, the annual migration of Martian chemical grubs has taken an unexpected turn, with reports of stampeding directly toward the Royal French, I'm gonna butcher this by the way, Catouet du Mars. Our help has been formally requested to save the precious garden. So from all accounts, and from that description alone, These Martian chemical grubs must be some sort of livestock or at least a common occurrence due to something. It mentions annual migration, so everyone on Mars must be like mainly familiar with these Martian chemical grubs, seeing as how like they know like, each year when they're going to be migrating. And also interestingly, how have the French gotten there? I just want Mars to be Mars, man. I don't want the French being up there. I can see why they're in open rebellion now, seeing as how the Royal French Chat-Iwi du Mars is up in Mars. But hating on Martian French people aside, the third mission has no signal where the image should be. It says, quote, the 33rd Armored Division has blacked out communications with Central Forces Command. It has become clear it is no longer acting as part of the Martian Defense Force. You are to liquidate all personnel with no survivors. Heavy armor will be present. Make usage of cover and flanking. Which, now that I read that out, I can kind of see where the stealth element comes from before earlier, because when I played this mission, I just went in guns blazing, and it was a little bit hard for me, but I can see where the stealth element could come in. Gameplay aside, now we are introduced to a new kind of faction or like coalition, being the Central Forces Command, and the fact that it mentions as well the Martian Defense Force, suggesting to all of us that the Central Forces Command and the Martian Defense Force are two separate entities, or I'm assuming are two separate entities, because if they were the same kind of thing, like force, military branch, they would just say not a part of us, or not part of our unit, or whatever like that. So the fact that, you know, that's happened, are there other planets that are also going through open rebellion? Because if Central Forces Command probably refers to Earth, or maybe like something akin to that, then it shows that the problem probably runs throughout the solar system. If that is what I'm thinking, because, you know, I could be very wrong. I probably am, but yeah, whatever. Moving on to the fourth mission, it says, quote, satellite photography has revealed the location of a newly constructed aircraft hangars and enemy emplacements deep within the Jezero Lake reserves. All enemy assets must be swiftly eliminated. Out of all of them, this one probably tells us the least amount, because it literally just says aircraft hangars and enemy emplacement deep within the lake reserve, which just kind of, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just these defectors, or maybe it could even be the Arms Corporation making new stuff, who knows. Moving on to the last mission you can play in the demo, the fifth mission. It says here, quote, reports of mobile command centers belonging to defecting 12th Martian Guard divisions are confirmed to have been sighted moving into the town near the outskirts of San Grai. Agrai? Argai. Argairi. Be advised, heavy resistance will be present. So having listened to me kind of ramble on about each mission and their briefings, I think we can kind of gather somewhat of a story, or like get an idea of what's actually going on so far. So it says in the first mission, the third mission, and the fifth mission, that all of, by the sounds of it anyway, a good majority of the Martian Guard, we don't know how many there actually are, but according to them, most of them are defecting. We do not know why, and we don't know if they're defecting because of greed or because of something Earth has done, or if they're doing an American like revolutionary thing where they're trying to secede from Earth and be known as their own kind of planet, not governed by that. That's kind of my initial impressions of it. I think what supports it is that like the third mission's briefing states that you are to liquidate everyone with no survivors. So, like, if they were defecting without their knowledge, they would definitely capture them and want to know why. Well, surely anyway. Which tells me that they definitely know something. Like, they definitely know what they're doing is probably wrong, and the defection is probably just. What doesn't help is how radical, like, Val is toward everything. She will, like, go apeshit every time she's against, like, the 33rd Armored Division. Like, she'll just call them, like, the R word or something like that. As, I guess, just her being hyped up or whatever, but, like, dang. But to be honest as well, if I were to have a new planet be colonized and the fucking French managed to put their flag on the surface of it, I would want to rebel no matter what. Jokes aside though, I think the kind of second game theory I have is that the Arms Corp is probably responsible for this. What's probably happening, and probably what I think is happening more than my previous one, is that the Armed Corp is probably promising them more. We do need to remember that, like, most of the planet of Mars by this time, like, by the time we're playing, this point at Mars is pretty much fully colonized. I mean, the first map is straight up just a city. So most of those people that are in the defense force are probably, I wouldn't be surprised, just born Martians. So the Arms Corporation must be providing them with, like, funds, maybe even, like, a sense of freedom from, like, I guess the oppression of Earth, and promise more freedom, or maybe even, like, more rations, I guess, than the Earth government. Who knows? It could be a 40k kind of thing where everyone's just really miserable and they're just promising more rations than the big scary guys to make them all revolt. But what confuses me about that is that, like, it doesn't seem to be affecting all of the Martian divisions, because the 3rd Maneuver Squadron, they don't appear to be, like, affected by whatever's going on. Seemingly devoted to Earth, which, or at the very least devoted to what is known as the Central Forces Command, so, which I'm guessing also just means Earth, but, you know, you get the point. And frankly, other than those theories, there's not much else after that really to cover. I know, I understand it is a demo, but I mean, if anyone else has, like, ideas of what could be going on, drop them down in the comments, you know, that'd be great. I've tried made this video short, but it says it's 12 minutes, so it's not really that short, but I don't know. I'm just trying to, like, piece together, because I think this game is just really, really interesting. It's just, like, such a shame it's a demo and not an actual, like, game, or, like, the story isn't, like, as fleshed out, obviously, because it's a demo. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that it's not fleshed out, because you know, the game isn't even finished and I'm just, like, immediately going in like a vulture. But yeah, no, it's a very interesting concept. I love the art style. I love, like, how everything looks. It's so, like, crisp and clear, and it's actually, like, fun as hell. I'm not really the biggest fan of top-down shooters, but yeah. Anyway, rambling aside, that's my game theory, so yeah, see ya.